everyone, it's Cherie here. Today I've got another layout to share using the Felicity Jane Kate Kit. Now what I've done is gone ahead and chosen a few of the papers from the kit and cut them into different sized squares and rectangles. Now they're all around the same width, but they're different heights. As you can see, they're all different sizes there, and that's going to be part of my design plan for this layout. I've got also one of the branding strips from one of the papers. I've just cut that down to size a little. I've got some of the die cuts. This tag was also in the die cut pack, and I've just added a bit of twine to that already. I've got the heart stickers, the word stickers, and I've also got the stamps here in case I decide to add one of those to the page as well. So I'll get started and show you what I'm going to do with this page. Back in a moment. Okay, so what I've done is gone ahead before I've pressed record and just decided which order I'd like these papers to be in on the page, just so that you didn't have to watch me fiddling around too long. So what I've done is tried to get a nice balance of where the black darker pieces are as opposed to the lighter pink and black and white pieces, and I'm quite happy with how this arrangement is. I'm just going to measure where the middle of the page is because I'd like the middle of the page to be just a fine gap between the two columns. So just fiddling around there to get them in the right spot. Now all of these pieces are around the same width as my photo, so that's a 3 by 4 inch photo, so they're all about 3 inches wide and then vary in height. I've got some foam tape behind the photo, but I'm not going to stick that down just yet. I'm going to stick all the papers into place first, then add some stitching before I add that photo onto the page. So I'm starting off by adding the bottom two pieces on those columns. Once those are in the correct place, then it's easy to line up the rest. So that's my aim. So the floral paper's going on there first. I love this gorgeous paper with its pretty coral pinks against the black. It's just so lovely. I've got that, it's a geometric diamond pattern paper underneath the photo in the first column. Just making sure they're all lined up nicely, and now I can start adding the rest of those pieces. So they're slightly overlapping, and that just makes it easy to get the spacing right. Okay, so I'm just moving the tag and the photo out of the way now, and I'm going to add some machine stitching. I'm just going to stitch around each piece of pattern paper. And there you go, all the stitching's done now. You can see there all the stitching around each piece, looking good. So now I'm going to add that die cut tag, so just a bit of tape runner on the back of that, and I'm just sticking it out, offsetting it in that column just to add a bit of interest. And I've also got a little die cut ticket that says "Loving This Life," and I'm going to lay that onto the edge of that tag there. It's a lovely gold foil on that ticket. It's really cute. So next I've got my photo going on. Now that all the stitching's done, it won't get in the way. And I'm going to add a couple of embellishments as well. So I've got these little banner pieces. I've got two pieces here that I'm just going to staple together with my tiny attacher. And then I'll add a bit of double-sided tape to the back of that, and then I'm going to stick it into that top right-hand corner of the photo. So that goes on there. Now I've got this little die-cut heart out of the die-cut pack, and I'm going to add some foam dots behind that before I stick it on. And I do put 3 pieces on here, but I do remove one because it's overlapping the photo, which already has some foam tape behind it. I just reduce that down to 2 dots on the back. Now I've got these really cute epoxy heart stickers, so I'm adding one of those, and then I'm also adding that little wooden star. Now to stick this one on, I'm using some micro dots. Because it's such a fine wood piece, the micro dots just give a really lovely coverage on the back, and that sticks on there nicely. You could use liquid glue as well. I just happen to have micro dots on hand. Now I'm adding a word sticker. That one says love, which is appropriate for this page. Love those word stickers. It's so nice to see them in the kits this month. And now I'm going to have a little play with one of the stamps in the stamp set, and it's the little rows of teeny tiny hearts. I thought it might be fun to add to the page. So just going to ink that up and stamp it onto some spare white cardstock, and then I'll just cut that out by hand and add it to the page. So just grabbing my scissors now and cut around that. I'm just playing around with where I might like it, and I do like it against that black and white paper on the left, but in the end I decided to overlap it with that heart paper. I decided to do that just to keep the focus in that first column, and I couldn't resist adding it to the page, so probably didn't need it, but it's going to go on. Just adding those foam dots behind that. See, I do like it up there on that black, but that's where it ends up going, onto that heart paper. So on that goes. So next I'm adding my title, a very simple title on this one, just XOXO, using those really pretty glitter foam alphabet stickers that are in the kit this month. So that's on there now. And then I thought I'd add some black paint splatters just for fun. Oh, no, first I'm going to add the date. So I decided to grab a little white tag out of my stash, and I'm just going to ink up the month and the year because it's such a tiny little tag. The whole date won't fit on there. So just adding that now. Just being careful not to ink up the date part of that stamp. And then I'm just going to scrunch up the twine and staple that onto the page. Just there. So I'm using my long arm stapler for this one because my tiny attacher doesn't quite reach in that far on the page. So on that goes now. Okay, so just get that other twine out of the way so it doesn't get paint all over it, and now it's time for those paint splatters. So just getting lots of water into the paint, covering up my photo so that I don't get any paint on it, but I'm quite happy for the paint to go anywhere else on the page. So adding those little splatters now on the bottom left and on the top right. It's always fun to play with paints and paint brushes. Okay, a little bit more. Trying to get some larger splatters in amongst all those little fine ones. And now that's done. So now I'm going to do something with this long tail of twine. So just deciding whether I leave it plain or curl it around. And in the end I decide to make a little loop at the top and then let the rest trail down the page. So I'll get that into place, and then I'm going to use my tiny attacher to attach that so that it doesn't move, and I'm just going to add a staple where the twine crosses over itself and then in 2 more places down that tail, and that should hold it into place nicely. I'll give you a closer look at that. There we go. I just need to flip that little tag over with a date, and I'm just going to put a little piece of foam tape behind that date tag just to keep that in place as well. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this page come together. I'll put a link to the Felicity Jane store down below. Please let me know if you've got any questions at all. And I'll be back again very soon with more to share. Thanks for joining me today, and bye for now.